Hello friends, welcome to Edupedia World Videos. Today we shall be starting with the first unit of class 11th biology, that is diversity in the living world, and we shall be taking up chapter 1, that is the living world. Now, as we have to start with the subject biology, we need to know how is biology defined. So let us understand how do we define biology. So we know that biology is actually a study of living organisms. So biology is actually a word that is derived from two Greek words, bios, which means life, and logos, which means study. So we define biology as the science which deals with the study of living organisms and the life processes which are going inside the living organisms. Now let us understand what is life. So life is actually a unique process. So now let us define what is life. Life is a unique, complex organization of molecules which expresses itself through chemical reactions, and those chemical reactions lead to growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation, and reproduction. So the object by itself which exhibits growth, development, death, consciousness, reproduction, etc. is designated as living being. Now let us understand the characteristics of living beings. So all the living beings, they share certain unique basic characteristics which set them apart from non-living objects. These characteristics are listed below. These are growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness. We will take each property one by one. So first let us study the characteristic of living organism, that is growth. So it is the increase in number, mass, and size of cells. So we have two things when we define growth. First is increase in number of cells, and second is increase in mass of cells. So growth is irreversible process. So basically there are certain non-living substances that are present inside the cells that react to form certain compounds. So we finally have the cell with us. So growth occurs by cell division. As you can see here, the second point listed is that growth, it occurs by cell division. And then in higher plants and animals, growth and reproduction are exclusive events, and certain Unicellular organisms, they also like increase in number of cells, like they will divide and form two cells. So growth is actually having two things in common: increase in number of cells and increase in mass of cells. So as you can see here, non-living objects can be seen growing, but that is only the accumulation of material on the surface. But in living organisms, growth is from inside. Now coming on to the second characteristic of living organism, that is reproduction. So reproduction is the formation of new individuals of same kind. So all living organisms, they will produce offspring or the young ones through the process of reproduction. So reproduction is important for continuing the lineage of species, and basically there are two types of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So here we see that growth is increase in cell number, and hence unicellular organisms growth and reproduction are same, because the unicellular organism reproduces by the division of the cell. And some organisms, they do not reproduce, like mules, worker bees, infertile human couples. And hence reproduction is not a characteristic, like it's not perfect for defining living organisms. So all the organisms which show all these characteristics like growth, reproduction, metabolism and consciousness, so they will be classified under living organisms. Now coming on to third very important characteristic shown by living organism, that is metabolism. So now let us understand the definition of metabolism. It is the sum total of all the chemical reactions that are going inside the living organism. So here we see that you can see in the diagram that a lot of reactions are going inside our body. Now let us understand next important feature of living organism, that is cellular organization. So now what is cellular organization? That is, every living organism is made up of cell, and cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. It means that cells are the building blocks of any organism. So now we see that cells may be, like an organism may be unicellular or multicellular. So unicellular organisms, they will be having only one cell, and multicellular organisms will be having number of cells in the body. So we start with the cell as the basic building block of life, and all the cells, they together collectively form tissue. The tissues, they function together like a group of tissues which will be forming organ. A lot of organs together, as you can see here, they combine to form organ system. So now let us define consciousness. So it is the ability of organisms to sense their environment. So all the living organisms, they will respond to certain stimuli. So these stimuli may be light, water, temperature, or maybe other organisms, chemicals and certain pollutants. So all the living organisms, they are aware of their environment. So this is about the introduction of the living world. So stay tuned for my next video on the next subtopic of the chapter, the living world.